What's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Renegade Gold Standard podcast. My name is Zach Hernandez, and as always, I am joined by my co-hosts, Matt Llewellyn and Mike Andrews of Nothing But Niners. We got a great show planned for you guys this evening, tonight, this morning, wherever you're tuning in from. We will be previewing the 49ers Week 10 matchup versus the Los Angeles Rams. This time at home, this time at Levi's Stadium. Before I toss it over to my guys, if you're tuning in on X, do us a solid, hit like and repost. If you're tuning in on YouTube, do us a solid, hit like and subscribe. Hop in the chat. We want to hear your guys' thoughts. How you feeling about this game? How you feeling about the Niners' moves or non-moves, I should say, at the trade deadline? And do us a big favor. Hop in both 49ers Hive and Nothing But Niners channels. Hit subscribe. Hop in the chat. Show some support. Really appreciate it. Now that I got that out of the way, Matt, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, Zach. Good to be back talking football. Good to have another game to get us out of this whole post trade deadline BS. So I'm sure we'll touch base on it, but it's been a silly couple days out here.
Yeah, that it has. Mike, how you doing?
I am well, man. I'm very, very excited for the rest of the season now that the trade deadline is come and gone. And I'm sure we're going to break all of that down and more. So I'm doing well. Had a good night bowling, by the way. Went out there and was kicking some butt again. I think I bowled my 5th highest game ever tonight.
Nice.
So, yeah, I'm hyped.
Nice. It's always good leeway into the leeway. I don't know. Good entrance into a recording for a podcast. You're in a good mood. Mike's not yelling at us. Mike's not cussing at us behind the scenes when he does well in bowling. I'm just kidding. He never does that. Okay. Obviously the biggest news is the no news, I guess you could say. Yesterday, the trade deadline came and went. Chat is noticing the new look, Matt, by the way. They like it.
That's temporary. Don't get used to it. It's temporary. It's a work related thing for anybody who's curious. I work in the hospital, and the way that this hospital is now doing fit testing for N95s, they actually measure particulates. Before, they would do a thing where they put like a little shroud over your head and they spray a little thing in there and they go, can you like taste that? And you could always lie. So I always would just lie and be like, oh no, I can't taste nothing. You know what I mean? But now they actually measure the particulates. So it's like, I can't. So I had to do this, but the beard will come right back because my wife is not into this fucking look at all.
I
Not
keep
at all.
telling people, man, the wives are the ones that love the beard more than the men do. When I shaved mine down, I just lowered mine because I had a lot of split ends and it was really, really dry. I was like breaking out. So you got to lower it or shave it all the way off and start treating your skin a little bit more. And when I did it, my wife was like, hey, baby, I like your shape up. And then she was like, I'm not saying nothing bad, but I don't have anything good to say either. So, yeah, it's always the wives that make you have to grow that shit.
The last time that I shaved my beard, it was kind of by accident. You know, Mike, have you ever had the trimming mistake where you go a little too far and you're like,
go down too
the whole
far,
thing's coming off?
Yeah,
the whole thing.
Yeah.
You're just like, the whole thing's coming off. I screwed it up. And my wife got home and she was like, what did you do? And like the stark disappointment in her voice, I was just like, oh no. All right, well, not doing that again. So I've had the beard. I don't think I've seen my chin in like 6 or 7 years. So
yeah, last
at least
time
I have
mine came
one.
all the way off.
We're good.
I was acting, and they made you cut it all the way off. I think I told the story out here before. So I haven't taken it all the way off since then. But man, oh man, it was wild.
All right. Trade deadline comes and goes, and nothing happens. I mean, let me rephrase that. A ton happened, just not involving the 49ers. Quinnen Williams gets moved. Sauce Gardner gets moved. Rashid Shaheed gets moved in the division to the Seahawks. And the 49ers are damn near tied to everyone. Well, 3 players, and specifically, I should say, that they were kind of rumored to have interest in leading into the trade deadline, which was yesterday. Bradley Chubb of the Dolphins, Jermaine Johnson of the Jets, Trey Hendrickson still of the Bengals, although the 49ers the reporting was that the 49ers were very adamant they weren't giving up a first-round pick, and the Bengals are very adamant that they wanted one in return, and Arden Key of the Titans. And a bunch of Jets got moved.
Would have moved the needle, huh?
Right. But you know, we got guys like Jordan Schultz, you got guys like Adam Schefter. I mean, trades happening, and they're like, oh, there's one more. Oh, there's something else coming. Oh, you know, the Jets are standing pat on wanting a second rounder for Arden Key. Or sorry, Jermaine Johnson. And 1 o'clock comes and goes, and the 49ers did nothing. So why don't I start with asking you guys, Matt, I'll start with you.
Which,
are you surprised?
By the way, no, I posted that. I think I retweeted Coach Yak or whatever, and I know I put it in our group chat. I'm like, yeah, 49ers aren't going to do anything today. Just like, let's be real about that. And I've kind of been on that train for a while, because my whole point is they traded for Huff prior to the season start, and then they traded for Keon White like 6 days ago, whatever it was. And so at what by the way, they traded for Brian Robinson, which also cost a draft pick. At what point is kind of enough, regardless of what happened with, you know, starters and everything else? I think people are more pressed because Michael Williams tore his ACL. If he hadn't torn his ACL, I don't think anybody would be as mad as they are. But the fact is that he did. And there's just been a plethora of injuries to the defense, whether it's Yeturgos Matos' hamstring exploding for the 17th time, whether it be, you know, this guy's hamstring, that guy's knee, you know, obviously Nick Bosa's out. Obviously, you know, Michael Williams is out. We haven't seen CJ West since he got the thumb surgery, I don't believe. And we know that who else? Did Collins have a thumb as well? Somebody else had a thumb as well. I think it was Collins.
Hand or something like that. Yeah.
Hand. Yeah. Injury, so there's just been so many injuries, and I know people want to do things, but here's the problem. Somebody pointed out in the chat too, by the way, that we traded for Sky Moore, which also cost a draft pick. So now we're looking at, we have an aging offensive line that is obviously not good. We all know it's not good. The only people that don't know what's good are the 49ers, apparently. Like Matt Hennessy has stayed off my radar. I haven't noticed him, and that's been great. And now all of a sudden I'm hearing, like, you know, from Kyle Shanahan, like, hey, we're really looking forward to seeing, you know, Jake Brendel get back. And I'm like, God damn it, dude. Like, can we not do this? You know, just play the guy. Play the guy that's good. The problem is when you get to 2026 and Bosa's healthy and Michael Williams is healthy and all these guys are healthy, now you have a logjam of guys. You have like 12, 13, 14 guys and a limited number of roster spots. And you've already committed draft picks to some of these people to get them. And so now you only have a certain number of eggs. If you take them all out of the O-line basket, throw them all into the D-line basket, and then you just have a bunch of, you know, people on the D-line, you're not necessarily going to be able to flip them easily. It's not Madden. You know, there's no guarantee that anybody's going to want these guys. They might have to cut guys. And then everybody in April is going to be like, why they trade away all their picks, man? I wanted this lineman and that lineman and this lineman and that lineman. It's all just, you know, the impatience and a lot of it's 49ers content creators stirring shit up. You know, the usual suspects or whatever. And it's kind of annoying, man. It's like, we weren't going to get anybody crazy. What are we going to do with Trey Hendrickson? We're going to extend him and then commit more money to him because he's going to want it, and he's on the wrong side of 30. And then it's, you know, like, we knew what the defense was going to be. They spent their first 5 picks on defensive players. There are 6 rookies that are contributing or starting on this defensive side of the ball. What do you expect to happen? Like that, there's only so many resources that you can toss in any direction. So I'm actually glad that they stood pat.
Right. Before I get to Mike, Tony T says, do you guys know what the asking price is for Chubb? I know the fans wanted too much in return. I don't know what it was. It probably wouldn't have been much.
Cap, dude.
Right.
The cap
is
what would be the issue.
Pick wise, but he's owed $20+ million for the next 2 years, if I remember correctly. So it's,
and his knees are shot, dude.
Yeah, it's somebody. It wouldn't have moved the needle, in my opinion. It would have been making a move just to make the move. And I said it to you guys. I said it in the chat. If they traded for Keon White yesterday instead of a week ago, a lot of these fans that are upset probably would have been like, oh, it's not Jermaine Johnson, but I'm still glad they did something. But because they got him a week ago, suddenly that doesn't matter anymore. By the way,
and because Michael Williams got injured, that like takes away that. It's like, oh, that transaction doesn't count because Michael Williams got injured. So now you need another guy. Yeah.
To add on to that, they didn't have to trade for him, but they also added Eddie Pinheiro to this roster. I'm just going to throw that out there. That was essentially a trade. They got rid of Jake Moody and added Eddie Pinheiro, which just didn't cost them any picks. Mike, what's your take on their non-action yesterday? Did you expect them to do something? Are you disappointed they didn't? Glad they didn't?
No, my whole mindset going into this was it has to be a big swing, like a big swing. I'm talking like you're trying to get
like Sauce Gardner to the Colts,
Hendrickson or Gard. Yeah, you have to go and get like the guy. You're not going to get a guy. We got a guy already, and so I'm glad that they stood pat because you're not gonna fill the roster with a bunch of guys because you lost guys to injury. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't anything that was like the end of the world. And I'm glad that they also traded for Keon White the week before the deadline because the asking price would have gone up a little bit on the day of. It's like trying to get someone in free agency. You're going to overpay for them. So they did it all early. It didn't cost them a ton, and it's the same type of player that we just lost, unfortunately, in our first rounder, Michael Williams. So I'm not upset with anything that they did at all. I think the Niners are great at not being reactionary to one injury, like, oh, it's the end of the world. We have to go out there and try to get a replacement for Fred Warner. We have to go out and try to get a replacement for Nick Bosa. You don't replace all pros easily, and if you do, they're going to cost you a ton. The Niners already have such a diminished draft pool going into next season. I don't think people realize how much we don't have available to us. So I'm glad that they didn't panic and overspend trying to make this thing go somewhere that it looks like it's already going. I could understand if we were the Cowboys at 3-5-1. We're not that. We're 6-3. And so, let's let these young guys continue to get their experience. Let's go ahead and work these guys into a rotation. And the good news about all the moves the Niners made is that they have everybody for at least one more season after this one. And so I'm happy with what they've done so far. Now, I'm not like pounding my chest like, oh yeah, they better not. It was, we should have done something if it was going to be a serious needle move, not just for some random guy like Johnson from the Jets. Like, sorry, that wasn't going to do it.
I mean, if you had told all of us back in July or August, and regardless of maybe it makes a difference if Bosa's not injured, if Warner's not injured, yada yada yada. But still, would you give up a second round pick for Jermaine Johnson? I'm sorry, no. Like, he's not the type. He hasn't been the type of player. I think his career high is 7.5 sacks. And one player alone wasn't going to come in and save this defense. They need so much more than one player. I think they ultimately made the right choice in standing pat. I was a little bummed. I'm not going to lie. Like, I wanted to see something. But looking back, like, would you rather have them overpaid and gotten somebody that, and to put it in perspective, two things real quick. Did Chase Young move the needle? Like, Chase Young was a move to make a move. Now, they got to the Super Bowl that year, almost won it. I don't know how much Chase Young contributed to that, other than just being a body on the roster. And two, not to be that guy, again, something I've already said to the guys, who's to say they don't trade for somebody that gets hurt this weekend? Like, the way that they've just had all of these injuries, they cannot escape it. So who's to say a player that's played, X amount of games in a row doesn't come in and get rolled up on and suddenly he's out for a month and the Niners defense is right back to it is, and you're without a second round pick. So
yeah, I mean, I hate to do that sort of thing. I think that's a little bit of a defeatist mentality. And I know we've been conditioned around here to do injuries or whatever. I think it's just much more of like, what's the issue? Like, is the defense top 10? No. Do the injuries hurt? Yes. But people are acting like this team is 2-7 or 1-8. They're 6-3, and they're essentially like a walking cast. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's been injured. But again, how much do you throw and use at one position group at the expense of everywhere else? They're going to have to replace a lot of these offensive linemen. Trent Williams is not getting any younger. Jake Brendel is not getting any better. Neither is Colt McKivitz, even though they paid him. It looked better with Spencer Burford in there. That's great. But, Dominic Pooney's regressed. So you have to address somewhere there. It's just, there are a lot of positions of need. They're thin at linebacker, although Tatum Bethune looks really, really good. And D. Winters has looked really good. Safety, not the best, right? We could always use more secondary help. And to that end, I'm sure we'll talk about it, but they are going to meet with Asante Samuel Jr. on Monday. I don't know. I'm still like, what, you have 15 guys next year if you keep trading for people and no draft picks. Like, that's not moving the needle for anybody. And I'm kind of on board with Mike. If they could have taken a big swing at somebody, like if they could have done Trey Hendrickson for a second and then announced an immediate extension, it's like, okay, fine. Or a second round this year and a first rounder similar to what like the Cowboys got for Cowboys gave up for Quinnen Williams. If they could do that for Max Crosby, sure, fine. Like that, cool. We'll do that, and we'll wherever it goes, it goes. But that, a second for Jermaine Johnson, I don't think so. Taking on Bradley Chubb's contract, I don't think so. And then, Arden Key was the other name floated. Does anybody really give a shit about Arden Key? Like, let's be honest. That's going to be the needle mover for you guys? I don't think so. Like, people saw Sauce Gardner get traded and Quinnen Williams get traded and Shaheed going to Seattle. And they're like, well, we want the 49ers to do something. Everybody else is doing something. So we have to do something. And it's like, no, they don't. They really don't, and you should take that as a vote of confidence that they have in their roster as currently constructed. And let's not forget that eventually Brock Purdy will come back and eventually Ricky Pearsall will come back. And, again, the offense could start humming. And then that defensive side of the ball doesn't quite look as bare because there's more offense to cover for it.
Well, that's what cracks me up too, right? Two things. I saw someone in the chat saying they're 6-3, but they're going to need to be almost perfect to get to the playoffs. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I think 10 games maybe gets you in. They only have to go 4-4 over their next 8. If they can even go one above 500 and go 5-3, they're 11-6. It doesn't have to, and their schedule is pretty simple, or pretty easy, I should say. You take the division out of it.
Right.
They're all winnable games, so we'll see.
Panthers,
how it
trash.
shapes up.
Browns, trash. Titans, trash. Like, there's winnable games there.
Right. Also, a trade that they weren't linked to necessarily, that I could have seen them making, especially the news that came out today that he was benched, was the linebacker Quincy Williams from the Jets. Quinnen Williams, his brother, funny enough, because he ended up getting benched for not playing well enough, apparently. But then also, Matt, like you just said, like Tatum Bethune has kind of come on and he's looked good. So do you make that trade and get a guy that your DC is familiar with from his time with New York and maybe is a little more of an established player at the risk of your own young linebackers development? Maybe you can get him as a depth move. I don't know, but they clearly felt like it wasn't necessary. Mike, do you have anything to add?
No. I was just hiding behind the microphone. Yeah, but I agree with everything that you're saying. It's like, let these guys go ahead and develop. I don't think that we should continue bringing in other people to take their reps from them. We went out and, like Matt said in the beginning, we went out and did all this draft capital on the defensive side of the ball. What good? Like, what message are you sending? People are flipping out every single week that Nick Martin's not getting played, but you want us to keep trading for more linebacker. Like, it doesn't make any sense. You either want to see these young guys or you don't. You either believe in them or you don't. And I took this as a huge vote of confidence for the roster as it currently is. So,
yeah, and that's what's funny. I've seen a lot of fans saying like, "Wow, John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan just told the roster, fuck you. We don't care about you. We're punting on this season." How does them saying we're gonna roll with who we have? We believe in you guys to get the job done. We actually feel like we don't need to go and spend a boatload of picks and get a veteran in here or a well-known player in here to help you guys. How does that send a message that we don't care about you? Like, if anything, it says the opposite message, that we believe in you guys so much that we don't think that's necessary. We don't think we need to go overextend ourselves and get Trey Hendrickson or Draymond Jones, who has moved, or any of these people. I don't understand that logic. I think people are a little emotional in it. And like Matt said, because Michael Williams went down Sunday, people just assumed that they had to make a trade. And I actually tip my hat to them for not feeling desperate and not negotiating from a place of desperation to where they're like, crap, you know, we kind of have to give a first round pickup or a second round pick to get Jermaine Johnson, because it's like, no, let's see what Keon White can develop into. Let's see what Cleveland Farrell, who actually looked pretty good Sunday, like 5 days after being signed here, had a sack, you know, like was good against the run. So let's see what this defensive line can really turn into with the younger guys. Sam Okawanu's looked good. Bryce Huff is going to be back this week. So let's see what it looks like rather than overextending themselves and risking the youth.
And by the way, does nobody remember the piece from Tim Kawakami back in July when he interviewed Kyle Shanahan? Kyle Shanahan told you at the beginning of the season, hey, like in July at training camp, hey, man, like we got a lot of young people in here and, you know, like this is a new window. Like this is a new window that we're entering. You know, we'll see, you know, and he's like, if it's a good season, if we can make the playoffs, like if we can make the playoffs, then we're looking at it as like, you know, we can do something and have these new guys establish themselves. And then we build from there. And it's just like, he's telling you that they're going young, that they want these guys to develop. So just continuously throwing away draft picks to, you know, to satisfy the fan base. It's just like, you know, the Barbarians are at the gate, but it doesn't make any sense, man. Like, again, this is not Madden. You can't run football teams by just willy-nilly throwing around. I don't know, man.
It's the content creators talking out of both sides of their mouth, right?
Right.
In 1 second, it's what's the point of drafting people if you're not going to give them opportunities? And then it's, hey, we need to go out there and get all these veterans and trade for people. Like, which way do you want it? Do you want to see the development and the growth of these young guys that we're drafting, or do you want us to go with the old team and constantly have to worry about getting new guys in here every 2 years? Like, which one do you want? And so I think that they've done a good job of blending it all together. They've picked their side that they want to go younger on. They trust in Robert Saleh a lot to give him the youth, and they're going to go with the veterans on the offensive side of the ball for now. And then they're going to go ahead and now we can develop the defense in 2025, and then in 2026 we'll start turning over some of that offensive side of the ball. And that's how it's supposed to be.
Too Much Sauce 33 with the $2 super chat. Are you happy with Pinheiro so far? I think all three of us can resoundingly say yes. Not a question. Also, authentically himself, LOL, Joe Tryon Shoyinka went to the Bears for a 7th round pick. Would that have moved the needle for you? Like, honestly, would it have been a nice move? Sure, but
again, to what end? What does that guy get you for 2026? You know, I don't know, man.
There's a couple of super chats. I don't know if you guys want to get to them now or not, but they were rolling in here for a while, so. You know, I just want to.
Sean, might as well. Do you guys regret Purdy money watching Mac has a better arm?
Yeah, but he doesn't have the better brain. Doesn't have the better mobility. Like, Mac Jones puts the ball in a lot of danger, bro.
It's clearly limited, right?
Right. He's a great backup. It's a great problem to have. But this is again something that's a byproduct of the content creators. You know, the usual suspects out here being like, oh, the turf toe, huh? Yeah, I bet you this is just cover for a soft benching.
Soft benching. If I have to hear that word one more time, I'm going to put a bullet in my head.
It's just like, come on, man. Or it's like, you know, the second he gets injured, it's like, shouldn't have paid him.
Right. Look, you guys paid him, and look at him now. Like people trying to say Ricky Pearsall's injury prone because he got fucking shot last year. Oh, right. I'm sorry. What a silly mistake that was.
You remember the guy that came at you was that? Remember you had to correct him on X because he was like, dude was injured in college. He's injured in the pros. And you're like, yeah, I'm pretty sure he missed 0 college games.
He didn't miss a single game in college.
Didn't miss a single one.
No.
I think it's a fair question to ask if you regret it, right? Like, so not necessarily because of how Mac is played, right? But like Purdy, no one wants to openly admit it, but he was kind of on a decline, like the level that we had seen him playing at for the first 2.5, 3 seasons, and then how he finished the year last year and how he started this year. He also was putting the ball in harm's way a lot and all that, right? Like, so we got really excited when we saw him taking over the game with his legs against the Lions in the postseason, but that kind of it didn't continue to be that, right? We saw him leaving the pocket earlier than we wanted him to and things like that. Then we see some of the hospital balls and all that stuff coming. I was not against the whole, like, let him play out his rookie contract and then extend him afterwards if you want. I mean, you could franchise him twice if you needed to. Maybe, but he also wouldn't have a choice. We own the rights, so you could franchise him 2 more times if you needed to and all that. I'm not mad that they extended him, period. I wouldn't also be upset if they said we're going to let him play it out, and then if he's still looking as good as he is and we're not sure, we can tag him a couple of times also. I don't think you can go wrong either way. That's my answer to the question. So it's not necessarily regret. I could understand both sides of that coin as to how they wanted to. But
there is no argument here. There is no argument here, because if you don't think that Brock Purdy was, if you think he's a byproduct of the system and he played really good to start and now he's on the decline, it's like, well, welcome to every single quarterback that's ever played under Kyle Shanahan then. So why would you expect anything different from Mac Jones? Why would you expect Mac Jones not to have a similar decline? They're all, if you think Purdy's that, then you have to also think that Mac Jones is that. And so when does the other shoe drop for Mac Jones? In terms of EPA, he's like dead middle of the pack. Purdy last year was in the top 8 in EPA per play with nobody. He turned Juwan Jennings into an almost 1,000-yard receiver. Juwan Jennings ain't that this year. That's for damn sure. So listen, it's the nature of the business that once they committed to Brock Purdy as their starting quarterback, they needed to pay Brock Purdy. Whether you like that or not. Do I think that he's like an elite physical talent? No. But I think that he's better than, Mac Jones. Matthew Bishop, he can play in the rain. So I was there. When he beat Tom Brady 35-7 in his first career start in pissing rain. So miss me with that shit.
I think that, do I regret the Niners paying Purdy? No. But I do think that it's unfortunate that that's just the going rate. Like, there's such a huge discrepancy, because the difference in how much each of these guys is getting paid, like that delta is not the difference in level of play that the Niners are getting out of each of them, right? Like, they're getting value, bang for buck. And it happened with Joseph Purdy when he was on a 7th-round pick contract too. Like, they were getting insane value for that contract, which is what they're getting with Mac Jones right now. But if Mac Jones had done half of the things that Purdy had done, he wouldn't have gotten a backup. Like, this is Mac Jones proving himself that he can do it in a functional offense. Now, if Mac Jones had the 2023 roster for the 49ers, would he put up similar numbers? That's a whole nother story. But until then, until he puts up those type of numbers, I don't think there's really a conversation to be had. He clearly is limited. The 49ers are always going to have to pay market rate once the time came due for Brock Purdy. They didn't break the record. They didn't give him a record setting, they gave him, I thought, a fair contract. And I thought Brock took a fair contract at the time. We got one more from Sean. Corn stash testing. Man, I do beard mistake.
Every man does the beard mistake. Yeah. So, Matthew Bishop, by the way, I'm pretty sure that Brock Purdy had a comeback playoff win in the rain against the Green Bay Packers as well. So, again, miss me with that.
And we got one more.
By the way, that's the whole point. Isn't that the whole point of weather, guys? Unless you're like a super freak, like the weather affects everybody.
Yeah.
It literally is the great equalizer. Every time there's a rain game, it's like that narrows the talent gap between two teams. Nothing does it more than weather, because it affects everybody. It's not like people are out here with like, I have a career 108 passer rating in the rain. Like, no, nobody has that shit. So it's just like, knock everybody then. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. That's just nitpicky shit.
Gray Fox 198 $10 super chat. If this team didn't have all the major injuries, they would be undefeated. True or false? I say true.
Maybe.
Their losses are to the Jags, Bucks, and Texans. Probably.
And the only one.
No,
I don't think there was
Texans game.
Really?
Yeah, for sure. That Texans defense.
I don't know. With no offensive injuries though.
Or defensive?
Or defensive. Like if it's 100%, this team is at full strength. I don't know that the Texans beat them.
It was still kind of close as it was.
And that was
like,
with the 49ers playing as flat a game as they could
Yeah.
have possibly played.
It's not like they blew us out, like it was still somewhat within reach in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I don't. If you're telling me Fred and Bosa, Gross Matos, all those guys are in there, plus Pearsall, Purdy,
Plus
Kittle,
BA is healthy.
BA.
Right. Like, nah, fam. Like, Texans are getting dog walked. But, I mean, again, any given Sunday, right? Because the Panthers just beat the Packers. So, I don't know.
Right.
I would guess, if I had to guess, it might not be the same games that they lost, but they would probably have one in there.
Mm-hmm.
So
maybe the wins also wouldn't be as narrow.
Yeah. And by the way, it's not about if Purdy's good or not good or whatever the case may be. He's better than Mac Jones.
Yeah.
So there's your argument. If he's better than Mac Jones, then when he's healthy, he starts. And the nature of the NFL is when your guy's up for a contract, if you like him, you extend him. So where's the regret? Like, he's never seen the end of that contract, by the way. They're going to have it out probably after probably after next season, going into the third year of that contract.
2027, I think so. Yeah.
Right. So if again, I'm sure they had some level of regret for Jimmy Garoppolo's contract. Guess what? They got out of it and they moved on, and they've made an NFC Championship game and a Super Bowl since then. So it's not really, it doesn't matter if you think he's worth it or not. The fact of the matter is he was due for a contract, and the people get paid.
Yeah. You
know what I mean? Derek Carr got paid. Kirk Cousins has gotten multiple fully guaranteed contracts, whether you think that's worth it or not. Like, was Kyler Murray worth his contract? In retrospect, no. But like at the time, it's just like, okay.
Trevor
after
Lawrence.
2023. So listen, after 2023, everybody's like, damn, dude, Purdy's really good. He was like in the MVP discussion until December in that Ravens game. Then 2024, there were so many injuries that you were just like, well, is it really fair to judge him off of this? Like, there's so many injuries. But then he was up for an extension. So you're like, well, we hope he's more 2023. That you just go off the information that you have, right? He's not obviously a Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes level physical talent. That much is clear. Like, everybody knows that. But where do you meet in the margins? Is he more Dak Prescott than Tua? Like, that's what you got to look out for. Is he more Jordan Love than he is Kyler Murray? Like, that's what you're trying to measure. He was never the top paid quarterback, AAV. Never the top paid quarterback. They got him for like semi-reasonable rate. Other guys have already, surpassed that. Like, what else do you want, man?
Okay. We talked about the
also, I think it's weird
to
talk about team's money as if it's your money. Like, who gives a shit? I'm not spending Jed York's money. He is.
No trades made yesterday. Now the 49ers here. Why don't we get into the injury report? Today was the day where we were told we'll see about Purdy. We'll see about Pearsall. And today came and went. And let me pull it up here. And not much news, unfortunately. Let me pull it up so you guys can see. So Ben Bartch, full participant. By the way, I'm interested to see, does he get that position back from Burford, who looked pretty good Sunday? Does he take another spot?
Even if he does, he'll be injured by the second quarter.
True,
so fucking Burford will be right back in there. And that's like, listen, I'm not trying to talk. It's just a funny thing, right? But like, how many games has Ben Bartch played from beginning to end without getting hurt? It's got to be less than a dozen.
Tatum Bethune, limited with a thigh injury. Jake Brendel, limited with that hamstring injury. Bryce Huff, limited with the hamstring. Juwan Jennings, finally a full participant again with the ankle and the shoulder. Mac Jones.
And the 5 broken ribs.
5 broken ribs. Mac Jones, both knees apparently for Mac, but he was full participant. Darrell Luter, full participant with the Achilles. Christian McCaffrey, rest day. Ricky Pearsall did not participate with a knee injury. Brock Purdy, limited with a toe. Kyle said he would get more first-team reps this week than he had last week. Micah Williams obviously did not participate. Trent, also a vet day. D. Winters apparently also has both knees banged up, and he was limited today in practice as well. the big name here is Ricky Pearsall, who we were told on Sunday, I believe, we would see Wednesday. He'd be reevaluated. Not participating at all. What kind of was surprising to me is Mayoko talked after the game on Sunday, said that he had seen Ricky running on the side and he looked good. He looked faster. He looked more agile. So even Mayoko was like, I'm pretty sure they're going to get Ricky back next week. Well, flash forward to now and he's still not practicing. Is this concerning at all? I don't even know if we have the actual details of his injury other than it's a knee injury.
No,
right?
Shanahan said it was a PCL right off.
Oh, okay. Is it concerning it's taken this long, Matt?
6 weeks, dude. For a mild PCL injury, that's like the early time window. So he's approaching the window where it's like any time within the next 2 weeks should be reasonable for him to come back, which makes sense with Mayoko saying, hey, he looks faster or whatever. But it's not necessarily like a speed issue. It's like a pain issue, you're going to feel it in that knee. So it's one of the weird ones where unless you have like a complete severing of it and it's causing debilitating whatever, you can tear your PCL and not necessarily need to get it surgically repaired. But if it's anything more than a minor one, then you push that recovery back to like 8 to 12 weeks. And then, so they're working on it. I'm sure he's doing the best that he can to get back, but you kind of just ride the wave. And I don't know. Again, you've had so many injuries. Would anybody be surprised if the 49ers slow rolled every single player that was injured? They're 6-3 despite, all of their limbs falling off. And so like, why would you risk rushing people back too early? I know there was talk about Steve Young, like, hey, maybe Brock Purdy in private kind of pushes the issue and be like, hey, get me back out on the field. But again, it's just like, to what end? They already did that once when he came back against Jacksonville and that didn't go well. He couldn't push off and was sailing just about every pass. Yeah. And then aggravated the injury. Exactly. So you don't want to do that. Right. And I mean, honestly, with the Rams pass rush being what it is, do you really want, Brock Purdy on a toe out there, like trying to run away from Jared Verse? You know what I mean? Like I don't know. Doesn't seem like the best idea to me when you got, some lollipops coming up after that. I don't know. But Pearsall should be back at some point. I don't think it's time to hit the panic button on him yet.
It's also another reason I think the Niners were kind of, not in a rush to make any trades on Monday, is because if you just take a step back and fast forward, 3 or 4 weeks from now, you could have Brandon Ayuk, Pearsall, Purdy back on the offensive side of the ball, a healthy offensive line, whatever that looks like, whoever they decide to plug and play in there, but they should be healthy, right? Like we're getting reinforcements back on the offensive side of the ball, and that's the side that really needs to pick it up some, because even when the defense has some good drives, it's like, can the offense now match that? You know what I mean? It's not necessarily just about the defense, right? I think we were so like wrapped up in we lost this guy on the line, we got to replace him. It's like, all right, well, they've done that. It might not be the players that we wanted, but they've done that. They've addressed the defensive side of the ball over and over continuously, from the draft to in-season trades and all that. And now it's like, all right, well, how do we improve this team? We need to put more. We need to have more long drives, sustain some drives, and then how do you do that? You do it with some of the reinforcements coming back. If the Niners can go out there and get Pearsall back in the mix, if Brandon Ayuk can give us anything, we saw Brandon Ayuk running weeks ago. And there were people
preseason.
I was on here, right? I was on here saying, like, man, is he going to get in trouble for catching passes from Purdy? Are we going to get some? He's not supposed to be doing that type of thing. And then they're like, yeah, no, we're going to continue to slow walk this dog. I don't think they're rushing. I think they're purposely trying to save and extend these guys' time. We're not going to rush you back because we're 6-3. If we were sitting here with a different record at this point, 4-5. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe it's different. Like, all right, we got to kind of push the issue. We have bought ourselves some time. We've bought ourselves some grace. And even if we happen to fall to 6-4, I don't know what we'll get to that later on. But if we happen to fall to 6-4, it's still not time to hit the panic button because that still only puts you a game behind whoever's winning in the NFC West. So we've earned the right to take our time bringing these guys back.
Right. I agree with that. And also, by the way, we got a super chat from our Javier Reyes. Please For all that is holy, keep Jake Brendel off the field. Yeah. And you know what's crazy is like he's not necessarily like the worst, but this just something, the effort gets blown by too many, flown by, I should say, too many times too easily. That with Matt Hennessy, you just see him go the extra mile. So I'm okay with keeping Hennessy out there. But Mike, I wanted to address something you said where it's like, the young guys keep the draft picks and really stick with the youth. And it's like, another thing I saw floating around yesterday was, for what? They can't draft. They suck drafting in the first couple rounds anyway. Well, my guy Stewart hooked us up with a nice list of their active players that they've drafted that are helping out. Now, obviously some of these are hurt, but just keep this in mind. Nick Bosa drafted, Fred Warner drafted, Michael Williams drafted, Upton Stout drafted, DeAndre Lenore drafted, Renardo Green drafted, Kalia Davis drafted, Alfred Collins, drafted, Tatum Bethune drafted, D. Winters drafted, Marquise Siegel drafted, Mustafa draft pick, Jair Brown draft pick. And that's just the defense, like the offense too. There's a ton more. Kittle, Pooney, Pearsall, Ayuk, Banks, who ultimately left, McGlinchey, who left, Purdy. It's insane how they can get all of these players that have hit and that are at least playing well for the 49ers starting and winning games with, and yet for some reason there's still this weird notion out there. They had 2 bad classes, right? I think that's where it really stems from. Purdy's draft class and the one before that, if I remember correctly, where everybody just assumes that's how they draft and they're poor drafters.
Well, and by the way, those were potentially Adam Peters drafts because he's over there in Washington and that team looks like trash in his second year there. Meanwhile, it looks like the 49ers have had back-to-back good drafts without him. And if you look at their first-round picks under this regime, they're about 50-50, which is league average. Yep. So, I know we give Slim Mike a lot of shit, but like Mike McGlinchey is not a terrible player. He's a starting level. He's a starting level right tackle, and he got a big contract from the Denver Broncos. Like, if you get a big second contract, you're a successful draft pick. Like, that's just the way that it is. Yeah. So, their big miss was just, they're new on the job, and it was like an inside kind of nepotism thing with Solomon Thomas. You got Reuben Foster in that draft, who was more of a character concern than anything else, right, rather than ability. Right.
Yeah. And to speak to that, Matt, if a lot of people I think forget, they had to wait until after the Super Bowl to hire Kyle Shanahan, who then picked his GM. So they had a month and a half to scout and find a pick that they were going to pick, But
they had to know that Patrick Mahomes was going to be that generational talent. Right.
Just as every other team did.
Except for the Bears, who took Mitch Trubisky at number 2.
Or the Bills, who traded back to let them get Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
It is what it is. I just think that a lot of people unfairly tarnish this team's drafting abilities. And I think Matt made a good point. With Adam Peters, kind of went the poor draft classes. I don't know if it was mentality. I don't know if it was a scouting thing. I don't know what it was. But maybe it's just a coincidence. But it just so happened to, once he left, and we all thought the drafting would go down even more, kind of picked back up. I mean, they were able to find starters all throughout the rounds. So,
I think a little bit of it is, and people will blame Kyle Shanahan for a lot of this shit, but like Kyle Shanahan doesn't watch any college film during the season. He doesn't have time. Like, he's not on the college film until the off season. And let's be real, in a lot of the seasons, right? We're talking 19, we're talking about, 21, 22, 23. They're going to at least the NFC Championship game, which means that you're starting from way further behind to try to look at college tape. And John Lynch had never had a front office job in the NFL. He was in the announcing booth when they hired him. So he's probably started out as a mouthpiece with Adam Peters really running the show until John Lynch could learn the process, get his feet wet. And now that John Lynch is ready, they were ready to let Adam Peters walk. And now John Lynch is doing the job. So
I have a question for you guys before we continue with the show. We are officially at the halfway point of the season. Halftime of the Giants game was the midway point of the 49ers season. What do you guys think so far?
I think Kyle Shanahan's coach of the year. The job that he's done with the litany of injuries that they had, this is his best coaching performance. And I think that he should have won it in either 19 when, he was able to take that team to the Super Bowl, or in 22 where he started with Lance. Lance breaks his leg. Jimmy Garoppolo plays until like week 8 or 9 when he breaks his foot against the Dolphins. And then Brock Purdy takes him to the NFC Championship game where he gets hurt. It's just like you go through 3 starters and you still make an NFC Championship game on your 3rd quarterback and you don't win Coach of the Year. Like, that's ridiculous. I have this conspiracy that the league does not like Mike Shanahan. Therefore, they don't want to give Kyle Shanahan flowers, but that's just me. But he should be Coach of the Year for what he's done. And I'm impressed that they've won the games that they've won. We're talking about, like, everybody's like, we're going to get mollywopped by the Rams. It's like, do you know who the Rams' last loss this season was to? Oh, that's right, the 49ers back on October 2nd. The Seattle Seahawks, who just like crushed the Commanders last week. Sam Darnold, wow, he looks good. They should have signed Sam Darnold. Who won that game week 1 against Sam Darnold and the Seattle Seahawks? Oh, that's right, the 49ers did. Oh, okay. So, like, he's doing, they're beating teams that aren't trash. They're beating the trash, except for the Texans. But they had a very competitive game with the Buccaneers. It's just like you got to give him his props, man. He's doing a hell of a coaching job.
Yeah. And going back to those 2 years, 2019, John Harbaugh got it for taking Lamar Jackson and a stacked Ravens team. It's like that was already a good team. And then in 2022 or 23, whatever year that was, Kevin Stefanski got it, if I remember correctly. I forget who got it that year. And,
I think it was Stefanski for like a 10-win Browns team that got whopped in the wild card.
Right. It's complete BS that Kyle Shanahan has none. Stefanski has 2. O'Connell has, however. It's like, okay, at what point now is this going to be personal? But I'm. What was the question, Mike? How are we feeling about the team?
Just how do you feel? We're at the halfway point of the season. Just how are you feeling about it?
I'm overall happy. Obviously, it's a bummer, all the injuries, but the way they've been able to keep this train rolling somehow, some way, with a ragtag group of guys, a thought and a prayer and a play call sheet, you just got to tip your hat to them. They're finding a way to get the job done with guys that they either just signed off the street or just activated off the practice squad or are filling in for the first time. You just got to be appreciative. And I'm also hopeful that they're 6-3 and there's another level to this, right? Like they could get healthier. They could get better. Jordan Watkins, like Blackbeard said, can develop more. I mean, he had a really good catch last week, prevented an interception. Great improvement off of his first week where he had a couple of drops or a couple of missed passes. So there's another level to this, especially on offense, where I think is very exciting if you're a fan. How are you feeling, Mike?
No, I've been very, very pleased. I mean, once you take a step back, you take the emotions out. If the same exact thing were happening with the Rams, they would say that's the best coaching staff in the NFL. They would say that they find the right pieces no matter what. Look at all the superstars they've lost.
Just win.
And they have not missed a beat. They just keep finding ways to win, right? Like if this was another team in our division, we would be slobbing those guys like, oh, this is why Kyle Shanahan sucks. Look at what McVay is able to do, right? Look at what they're doing over there in Seattle. If it was just any other team not named the 49ers, all the fans would be gobbling those guys balls. And it's us, and it's like, oh, well, we need more help. We need more help. Like when they went out there and they drafted those 2 defensive linemen in Verse and what's the other guy's name?
The white guy, right? Fisk?
Yeah. Fisk and Verse. Like when they go out there and they get those guys, they're like, man, they really did it the right way. No one's saying that about the Niners. Right. Why not?
Right.
Why not?
It's almost like they're expected to do it, so they don't get credit when they do it.
When they actually do it, right? Kyle Shanahan is putting on a coaching clinic. He got rid of coordinators and said, hey, I'm going to get us better. You know, he went after defensive coordinator and finally got his guy back here, and they're doing exactly what they need to do. And for some reason, it's not good enough for this salty-ass fan base, and I just don't fucking get it. I swear to you guys, if it was any other team in this division, we'd be like, Kyle needs to be replaced because look at what they're doing with those guys, and the injuries aren't stopping them. We need to start saying that ourselves now. We need to really take a step back and take the emotions out of it. We're too close to the picture to see what it looks like in HD. Take a step back and really take in the full picture. We are doing a phenomenal job right now. And while none of the fans out there, and maybe even us on this show, we might not feel like this is a Super Bowl-bound team, I think we all can agree this is a playoff-bound team. I think that the playoffs are within grasp. They are definitely within reach. Right? We've got one loss in the entire NFC. Mm-hmm. We've got no losses in the division. Why are we so pissy? Why are we so desperate for us to do what the fucking Cowboys are doing? Like, make it make sense. We're applauding the Cowboys who have a fucking tie on their record. A tie on their record. We're applauding that team for spending money to replace the pass rusher, albeit defensive end versus or outside linebacker versus defensive tackle, but they still are trying. They let go of a guy, and now they're showing, oh man, we really fucked up. We got to go out there and get somebody who can get after the quarterback. Let's go and get the best defensive tackle, right? The people that we've walked away from, the Dre Greenlaws and the Azeez Al-Shairs and all that, we haven't missed a beat. Tatum Bethune has 30 plus tackles in the last 2 games when you look at them total. I'm talking total, not just solo tackles. Total, when you count the assists, he's over 30 tackles. No one's talking about it. If this was any other linebacker on another team, they'd be like, oh, my God, they found a stud. Why don't the Niners go out there and get guys like that? We did. We've done it.
Mike, by the way, I'll do you one better. He's got 50 tackles in the last 4 games.
Leads the league, by the way, in tackles.
What the fuck else do they want to see? What else do they want to? This is a guy that wasn't a starter. Like, what do they want to see?
Yeah.
Yep. Come on, man.
And by the way, I think most of us called it. Like, I know that I called that they would probably top out at the divisional round just because of how many rookies were going to play on the defensive side of the ball. So they're exceeding even my expectations given the adversity that they've had to go through. So I couldn't be more pleased with what they're doing. Like, and other than the Texans game, there hasn't been
stinker.
Even in seasons like 23, 21, 22, where they're going and winning a ton of games, there were always games where even the ones that they win, they came out and they look listless and they look like no energy and whatever. The Texans game is really the one that they looked really flat. And that's it. And what happened after the Texans game? They come out against the Giants and the offense is humming. You know what I mean? You don't want them. You don't want them to make a move. You want them to make an impact move. I mean, Cleveland Farrell. Ask Jackson Dart if Cleveland Farrell made an impact in that game.
Right.
He probably still feeling that hit. Yeah. So it's just like, what do you guys want, man?
Even Keon White looked good in that game. He might not have had the stats to show it.
He had like a 50% win rate.
Did you see that first snap, Mike? He got through the line like that, and then the turf monster got him, and he fell.
Right.
He was that close to sacking Dart immediately.
Right.
And by the way, Bryce Huff is close to returning from his injury.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. Like, come on, guys. Like, we panic too quickly as a fan base, and it just doesn't make any sense to me, right? I mean, we're sitting here and we're looking at like, this is a Rams game that we're going to lose. Everyone's saying it already. They said the same shit last time too, right? And maybe the better team didn't win that game in that moment, but we won it. I don't give a shit how you try to spin it, right? Who had the Packers losing? Raise your hand, right? Who had the Colts losing, right? Raise your hand. You play the game for a fucking reason. And so if you guys told me that the Niners were healthy and through 9 games with no injuries, they were 6-3, we'd be like, yeah, it's a weak schedule. Like, that's what we're supposed to be. Right. So why is it that we can't say that with the injuries? Once you factor that in, it should be even more impressive.
Yeah. Right.
Come on, man.
Exactly.
To add in,
by the way,
saying, go ahead.
Jair Brown had a hell of a game as well. Like, Jair Brown's play has gone up. Like, we've dogged the shit out of him, especially you, Mike. I know you like to dog your Jersey boys, but it's just like, damn, dude. Like, even him and Mustafa played a hell of a game last week against the Giants. So you gotta listen. You gotta give credit where credit's due. And by the way, like, I think Saleh is doing a good job, but not like a great job. The defense is mid, and I get it. There's a lot of young guys or whatever, but really, when you look, this team is kind of being floated by the offensive side of the ball. I know everybody's saying Mac Jones is like a revelation. He's having like this amazing season. I mean, Mac Jones is having a good season. It's a great season for Mac Jones, but like he's still below the watermark for what we expect out of quarterback play here. You know, his 93 passer rating is below Purdy's career low, right? And that's a career high for Mac Jones. So he's got only 10 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He's only averaging 200 yards per game. Really, this offense is dominated by Christian McCaffrey's ability in the passing game. That's really what it's come down to. So it's a hell of a job, man. And by the way, shout outs to Boyer and the special teams, because with a middle of the pack, maybe upper middle of the pack, slightly above average special teams unit, a lot of that aided by the fact that they jettisoned dead weight in Jake Moody and brought in Eddie Pinheiro. Like Pinheiro's been to the point where like before with Moody, it's like we almost expect the misses, right? Like, oh, I'm not surprised he missed that. I would be surprised if Eddie Pinheiro missed a kick. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's almost to the point where like when they go, oh, field goal unit, it's like I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get up and go grab something while he
time to grab a brew.
Yeah.
Before we were grabbing our chest.
Yeah. Now it's like, oh, I'm gonna go to the fridge, I'm gonna get a snack ready or whatever, because I only got like 2 minutes after this commercial break or whatever. You know what I mean? So yeah, you got to listen. The special teams has definitely helped. Field position and all that stuff. But again, the offense and the fact that they can make field goals has kept this team in games, and hell of a job by Shanahan, dude.
Let's go. Absolutely right.
I was just going to say real quick, Mike, you talked about coach of the years, and if any of the other coaches in the NFC West were doing it, McDonald's floated out there as a coach of the year. McVay's floated out there as a coach of the year. Steichen's floated out there as a coach of the year. Nothing has gone wrong for those guys. Like, they've literally had to overcome no adversity. Nothing. And it's just so frustrating. Like, don't get me wrong, they're doing a good job, but it's like, why don't we tip our cap to the guy who's getting fucking boulders thrown at him as he's trying to climb up Mount Everest? And the NFL Network had it on pregame last week on Sunday, and they did a segment on Coach of the Year candidates. Kyle Shanahan wasn't even included. Like, that's just how ludicrous these conversations are. He wasn't even included in the conversation. By the way, Matt, you brought up special teams. Let's look at it and how good the 49ers special teams is now. They are the 4th best special teams in EPA from weeks 1 through 9. It's insane.
Do you remember last season when they were like negative 59?
We were dead last by a wide margin.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, look at who's number 31 there, just for you guys.
Yep. They just signed the thicker kicker today. Did you guys see that? They signed a new kicker from like the UFL or something like that.
I saw that. Yeah. Dude is like huge. Like he looks like he eat tubs of mayo for
bigger
breakfast.
than Fat
Like,
Randy.
crazy.
Okay.
Just incredible.
We got a super chat
poor
here.
Randy Bullock. Randy Bullock ain't even that fat, dude. I'm calling him Fat Randy and shit. It's terrible.
Too much sauce 33. Do you think Kyle ever takes advice from Saleh?
In what way?
Yeah.
Well, the answer is yes.
I'm sure he defers to him in terms of defense, but like, what? I don't know. I'm sure he does, but not in like a head coaching type of way.
They've actually answered this question at the pressure. They do bounce ideas off of each other and all that stuff, going into games and game plan situations and all that stuff. They've already acknowledged that they do.
I guess we need to differentiate bouncing ideas versus like advice. Like if it's like, hey, Kyle, I like this defensive player in the draft. Like, could we draft this guy? Then yes, absolutely. I think he takes that into account. Or like, hey, I don't think. Do you remember when with Wilkes, and I know with Sorensen, but with Wilkes, where Kyle legitimately overrode his call? I don't think he's doing that to Saleh on the defensive side of the ball.
Definitely not doing that. Yeah, and I think that Kyle brings Saleh in. And he says, hey, we're going against this defense. What do you see? What do you think? And how can we take advantage of it? How do we exploit it? I absolutely think that he's doing that. 100%.
Now, offensively, when he's like, hey, this is what they're running. What do you see? I think that's less like, hey, give me your advice. and it's more Kyle knows what they're trying to run, and it's more of like a confirmation. Like, hey, let me know that I'm seeing this the right way. And then if there is something that like is a little bit different, sure, you can make an assertion based off that or a change based off of that. But yeah, I don't think Kyle is taking offensive advice from Robert Saleh.
Got this comment on the screen for you, Matt. Matt, do you think Warner coming back, if we make it deep enough in the playoffs, based on your knowledge?
I think they put him on season-ending IR. I don't think he's designated to return, so he's done.
Really? I thought they had talked about that. They were told that there was an opportunity.
But then they put him on IR to bring George Kittle back after that. Like he's not coming back.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. Does postseason count? I thought there were different rules.
I believe so.
I'm not certain, and I'm not.
I don't know. Somebody would have to tell me. I think it's unlikely. Let's.
I wouldn't rush him back anyway, though. I'm not trying to be funny at all. Like if you get there with the guys, you get there with the guys, and you play with those guys. It's a little demoralizing.
But here's the thing, though. Theoretically, could he come back? Yes, but it's not just recovery from the injury. Think about the mechanism of the injury that he has. What's going to happen to the balance, the musculature, the strength when you're unable to use that leg for months, for 2 to 3 months? Like it was his right ankle, so his right calf, his right quad, his right hamstring, the balance that he has to use to try to build that strength up. It's going to take a lot longer than just like, okay, medically you're cleared to do all these activities. He's got to build everything back up. So it's really unlikely that he would be able to come back in any meaningful way. And why would you rush it?
Right. Not only that, but like you rush someone back like that who's been putting all the weight and pressure on the left side. Like now you're going to damage the other side. It happens all the time in the NFL with major injuries. So I'm definitely not rushing him back. Like I said, if you make it deep, that means you made it deep with the players that are there. Don't go out there and do something like that, man. I mean, it's just not worth it. It's not worth it.
True. Christian Wilkins, free agent. Oh man, did you?
Bro, no,
he's signing with the Bills.
No.
Yes, the news came out like 12 hours ago. Google it. Christian Wilkins, he's signing with the Bills. And I would have brought him in as a free agent as opposed to trading.
There you go.
He's
signing with the Bills, though.
That's hilarious. Yeah. Didn't he grab Josh Allen's junk on the field?
Wait, is this confirmed, though? Because I see one source for this.
Yeah, I only see TWSN Sports.
Yeah, that seems like some bullshit.
Oh, okay. But I would give him a shot. If he was serious about coming back, the guy's talented. I would definitely bring him in. I'm not trading for anybody.
Yeah, but didn't he put his fucking junk on somebody?
I mean,
so what? What the fuck? You know what happens at the bottom of these piles all the time? Eye gouging, nut grabbing.
No, but I mean, like, not in like
fingers and
we're
holes.
Talking in the locker room to teammates and shit, like shoving his dick.
He was showing hole.
What?
He was showing hole, Mike.
These guys are young, so what? I've mooned people before. I've done it on the bus.
No, Mike.
We're talking Diddy. We're talking Diddy stuff here.
No. Yeah,
we're not talking buddies stuff here. We're not talking dip
his friend's
like
hand in
shaving cream
weird, creepy shit, man. Yeah. The off-putting stuff.
He can play. He can play.
How about we keep him in a separate locker room and he just shows up on Sundays?
Just shows up on the game day.
Yeah. He goes into the guest.
If we need help out there, we need help. That's all I'm saying. So if they're still looking for a defensive tackle, he's very talented. He can come in here and he can contribute right away. Let him fucking do it. I don't know why we care so much about what's happening in the locker room. Who gives a shit?
Listen, because it's an indication of what type of person he is. Like, Have you ever seen the documentary about Aaron Hernandez? Like, all of his teammates were like, dude, this dude's fucking weird. Like, he
was killing dudes. And he was
out there killing people.
Yeah. He went over to Terrell Suggs. Have you seen Terrell Suggs talk about his encounters? He goes, he came over to me and he said, I'll fucking kill you. And I thought, yeah. He's like, turns out he was fucking serious. Like he was actually threatening my life.
But he would do sexual shit in the locker room too. Like there's a level of like mental health issue where it's like that has to be a red flag. Like you have to take into account. And it's like balance winning football games, sure, but like there's a level of weird that it's just like, nah, man, I don't want to be around that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Super chat from Toussaint-R1U.
Toussaint.
Who is the Toussaint? Thank you. Who is the true alpha player in the locker room?
Like we talking like locker room leaders and shit for the 49ers?
From the outside looking in, yeah.
Like Trent Williams is the godfather of that locker room right there. Like he's the big dog. You know what I mean? George Kittle is like the rah-rah guy, but like if shit needs to get handled, I bet you everybody is like defers to what Trent Williams is talking about.
You got Trent. Diamador Lenore is absolutely a fucking dog out there. Fred Warner's a dog still in the locker room. I don't care what anybody says. The team is rallying behind Eddie Pinheiro. He is a dog out there. And not for nothing, I think they are actually rallying behind Mac Jones. I know that sounds like, oh, well, he's not our starting quarterback. I don't give a shit. Like, that guy is bringing something. There's juice behind him. And
I honestly enjoy his personality, man. His personality is great. He's funny as shit.
Yeah. I didn't think I'd like him as much as I do.
Yeah.
He's
laughing at dumb questions at the presser. Right. He's like, "You're serious? Oh, okay, I'll answer."
Yeah.
Like he's, you know what I mean? Like he's a good guy to be around.
I love the initial one where it was like that he, where he was like, I mean, did he make a great play? I threw it right to him, like the interception, and then he just like does the little giggle thing, and he's just like, yeah, man, that's funny.
Mac, did you know that you were 14 for 14 going into halftime?
He's like, no, am I supposed to?
Should I? Yeah. The fuck?
But that's exactly the type of mentality that you want from your backup quarterback. You know what I mean? That's why I could see Mac Jones taking less money to stay here because he vibes here. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to be the type of guy that's like, no, I'm content. And like, if you need me to like come in and do some shit, I can do some shit. But it doesn't have to be like butting heads all the time and like the alpha dogs and like I need to do this and I need to do that. And, I don't know.
Which is why I'm so glad he signed a 2-year deal. We don't have to worry about that. It's not an issue. He's here for at least another year. And we can just take advantage of that. All right. Should we get into this preview now?
Yeah, let's do it.
What, Mike? What? The comments?
Yes, the comments are like, has no one ever played sports before? Has no one ever been a 20-year-old in the locker room? Has no one ever been an 18-year-old, 19-year-old?
No one has ever come up to me and stuck their dick in my face.
No one ever showed me their anus.
Yeah.
What are you? I don't know what kind of friend groups you guys had growing up.
Is it different in Jersey, Mike?
Straight friends groups?
Listen, I grew up with I had more cousins than I had friends at a certain point in my life, and we would dare each other to streak around the house butt ass naked. Like, we've done what people would call gay shit.
That's different, though.
Like, no, it's not.
That's different. No, it's different. Yeah, it's
family, that's different. But you're talking about grown men straight.
But it's also, it's also different. Because his teammates came out and been like, hey, man, like that shit was like crossing a line. And
it wasn't the vibe.
They're all athletes. The vibe that they were getting from him was like different than a guy doing like locker room bullshit. You know what I mean?
So then maybe I don't know what exactly. Like, I keep saying,
no,
I
dude,
keep saying he was kissing toes. I don't know what that means. Is this like a euphemism for something? Like, is it?
I don't know.
Like,
literally, probably.
He was trying to make out with teammates and like showing them dick and stuff like that, dude. Like Buffalo Bill tuck your dick type shit. Forcefully, yeah.
Oh, well, okay. Then that's
yeah.
Sexual predator type stuff.
Right. Buffalo Bill, tuck your wiener and put on the skin suit type of shit.
Gotcha. Oh, you can put it back up there. I saw the super chat.
Oh, I didn't see that. TVYT143. Who is a better leader as a quarterback, Mac or Brock?
I mean, they both lead in their own ways.
They're both leaders, but it's different. They're different ways, right? Like Brock Purdy doesn't have to travel with the team, but he's traveling with the team.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like he went to New York even though he was not in uniform. And that's to be able to be on the headset and help out Mac. And Mac understands that this is Brock Purdy's team, and he's not trying to finesse his way into a permanent job. And he's taking the reins, and he's keeping things loose. And for all the teammates and stuff, the little dancing and stuff that he's trying to do with the teammates and stuff like that. So it's different styles, but you can have multiple leaders. Like Mike was saying, Diamador Lenore's the leader. Fred Warner was a very quiet leader for the first couple of years. Now he's more vocal. We know for a fact Nick Bosa is a pretty quiet leader. Right. But then he goes and he helps out with, the linemen and everything. He was helping out the rookies and everything like that. So leaders come in different sizes, shapes, flavors, and all that kind of stuff. And it doesn't mean that one is better than the other. They're just different.
And you got to respect Mac for making it clear as possible. That this is Brock's team. I'm just here to help him get as many wins until he can come back, until he's healthy enough, which I hope is next week. Like every time you ask him, the guy couldn't be more like humble and respectful in his answer. But okay, let's get into the Rams injury report, which wasn't much. Puka Nacua was hurt in last week's win over the Saints. He had a chest injury. He didn't return to the game. McVay says he probably could have if it was a little closer. So he is limited with a chest injury. Jordan Whittington did not participate with a back injury. And corner Darius Williams was limited with a shoulder injury. Their injury report is like a sixth of the 49ers, unfortunately. So obviously the two biggest ones, Whittington and Puka. Puka's much bigger, but Whittington had a couple good catches against the Niners too when they played that Thursday night. How could the 49ers attack this Rams defense? Mike, I'll start with you because they are now the number one overall defense. Now take that with a grain of salt. They played the Ravens with what's that quarter? Cooper Rush. And then they played Tyler Shuck in the Saints over the past 2 weeks, in between a bye. But how can the 49ers offense attack them?
If I'm the Niners, I continue to spread teams out, right? And use Christian McCaffrey as the best check down in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? Like this guy, Matt alluded to it earlier, right? Like we are riding the back of Christian McCaffrey in the pass game. If I saw a stat that was like he's like the number one receiver in the NFL or some shit like that. Like I don't know if that's like total yards or what. I don't know what that stat was based off of. But Christian McCaffrey was up there for all pass catchers in the NFL.
I think he's first in total scrimmage yards.
Total scrimmage yards. Okay, so
yeah.
I mean, if you have that as a weapon, as a check down, as a out. You know what I'm saying? Like when the play breaks down and that's what you get to fall back on, it's a hell of a weapon to have. And so I don't think you need to do anything outside of character. I don't think you need to come up with a very special game plan in this one. You go out there and you play your brand of ball. You got to know that you got to let their defensive line be aggressive. They're going to be, and play over the defensive linemen's heads. We're not seeing a ton of batted passes at the line of scrimmage here. That's one of the biggest difference between the two quarterbacks. And it's not like a stat that's going to, come out and say this is why that guy is better than the other guy. But one guy knows how to move in the pocket and throw in the lane, even though it's still a lot of short passes, a lot of dink and dunk still happening, right? And so you got to go out there and you continue to do that. Let those defensive linemen be aggressive. You move past them or around them, and you continue to complete your passes and convert on third downs. That is going to be the key to the 49ers winning this game. You have to convert on third downs. I'm not saying you got to go out there and say, oh, we got to get someone's got to have 120 yards receiving. I'm never going to say that. You spread the ball out. We're seeing Watkins get acclimated into the offense. Hell, we've seen Sky Moore get receptions in back-to-back weeks. You know what I mean? Like, continue to spread the ball out. Involve the tight ends. George Kittle was supposed to have 2 touchdowns a couple of weeks ago, and you saw Tungus go up there and take one from him, and George goes to the side like, hey, that was supposed to be mine. You stole it from me, right? Like, cool. I'm glad he stole it because it looked like it would have been behind George Kittle if, you know what I mean, if they let that play out. Continue to spread the ball out and give opposing defenses a lot to look at. And that's how you want to play it.
Okay. Yeah, gotta get the ball quickly. Matt, I don't know if you had anything to add or if you want to talk about how they could attack them on the defense.
No, I think something to just be aware of, too, that wasn't on the injury report last week, that the Rams put Tutu Atwell on injured reserve, so he's not going to show up in the injury report, but he is not going to play in this game. So they're going to be pretty thin at wide receiver, and I think that bodes well for the defense. If you can force Matthew Stafford into mistakes, that's going to give the 49ers opportunity to possess the ball in short fields, and that's going to allow them to, get points. And again, for whatever reason, they seem to play Matthew Stafford pretty well. They force him into some pretty stupid passes, whereas you see him against other teams, against the Saints, and I know the Saints are trash, but like he was doing like the no look pass thing again, where he's like looking one way and the ball goes a completely different way. Like he's not doing that stuff against the 49ers really. So force him into mistakes, and there is opportunity for them to make some good plays on him. So I would actually expect that they turn the ball over I get the force Rams into turning the ball over a couple times this game.
Which cracks me up because it's like, do you really need to do a no-look pass versus the Saints? Like, come on. You're just showing up. You're trying to get that MVP talk, that those votes going into this, what could be his final year. Who knows how much longer he's going to play. If I remember correctly, like this is like the last year of his deal. Didn't they like restructure it to give him some more money? Maybe I'm wrong. I think the 49ers, the name of the game is get the ball out fast. Get it to 23, 85, 84, 15, whoever. Get the ball out fast, because we saw Thursday night when they played last time, that was the report from the Rams, is that they were frustrated with how quickly Mac was getting the ball because they really felt like they had an advantage in the trenches. They felt like their defensive line was going to be able to take over the game and really make Mac's life a living hell. Now, to be fair, Mac's life was a living hell. I mean, the dude almost didn't get up at one point, but he was getting the ball out. I think he only took 1 sack the entire game, and he took credit, or he took fault for that, I should say, because he didn't step up in time and he didn't get the ball out in time. So I think that this offense, they are very familiar with what Sean McVay likes to do on defense. They're very familiar with this team. I think that they can take care of business. Now, last time they didn't have George Kittle. Remember, this is a very banged up group of a banged up group. They didn't have George Kittle. Kendrick Bourne had just gotten there like a week and a half ago or something like that, 2 weeks ago. So I think that they could really make some moves on offense against this team just due to the familiarity. Ben Barch is coming back. How long will he stay? I don't know. Burford's back, excuse me. Pony's a little healthier. You got Matt Hennessy in there now. I'm excited. Jordan Watkins has come on a little bit. At least he's getting snaps. At least he's running routes. Brian Robinson has looked better. I think this is an offense that could have a good day versus the Rams defense, which makes me sound a little crazy because this is a top-ranked defense, but it's a divisional game. Like, it's a divisional game. They know each other. They're very familiar. And Kyle Shanahan always has this offense humming against the Rams. Let me flip it now on the defensive side, Mike. They should get Bryce Huff back this week. He's back at practice. Kyle Shanahan has been very adamant from the day he got hurt after that Sunday night game versus the Falcons. This is a 2-week injury. We expect him back versus the Rams. That has not changed. How much does that help the 49ers Sunday? How do you see the defense holding up against this Rams offense, which has been pretty good?
Yeah, no, let's not try to diminish what the Rams do offensively. They love running out there in 3 wide receiver sets. And seeing Puka injured, Atwell going on IR, and what's his name?
Whittington.
Whittington is also not practicing. They're going to be out there, and they might have to come out with different looks. We might actually see something we haven't seen before, maybe more 2 tight end sets and not 3 wide receivers. You know what I mean? And so it's going to be a game where Robert Saleh's going to have to make a lot of in-game adjustments. And sometimes that's been to our strength. Sometimes it's been to our detriment. When Robert Saleh first got here, those first 4 weeks, I saw phenomenal second half adjustments and in-game adjustments, and then it kind of disappeared. It was like, dude, like, what are you doing? I didn't see those adjustments against guys like Tampa Bay. I didn't see those adjustments against teams like Houston. You can't do that going into this game. McVay is going to have some stuff up his sleeve. McVay is pissed that they didn't convert that 4th and 1 in overtime last time against the 49ers, right? He's not going to let that down. He's not going to live that down. He's going to want to jump out to an early lead. Now, one thing that we can't do, which is what we did against the Giants, and we talked about it a little bit when I was on the car ride back home, was that once we went up by a couple of scores, it was like we were okay with giving up a scoring drive. You can't do that in this game. You have to try to stop them on every single drive. Do I expect you to stop them every time? Absolutely not. But there's never going to be a drive in this game where you're going to say, hey, we can afford to, go easy on this one, or play a little prevent, or, play soft or whatever. No, jam these guys at the line, they're wide receivers. What I want to see here is a healthy rotation of defensive linemen, right? We talked about the Keon White acquisition. We talked about how Huff is here now. Right, we're talking about him coming back, I should say, and then we know that Mykel Williams is out now. These defensive tackles are going to have to step up. right? We're going to need all hands on deck here, and we have to stop the run. Kyron Williams is – it's weird. I don't fear Kyron Williams on the ground. I fear him in the passing game. And I don't know if that's justified or not, but it's someone that we have to worry about. We don't have Fred Warner going out in coverage now. And so we got to make sure that these guys are ready. We talked about Bethune being a tackling machine. How is he in coverage? What do those numbers look like? And is that something that the Rams try to take advantage of? Because this is the type of team that can do it. So that's where we need to be cautious of, that their checkdowns.
Okay. Matt, we talked about Whittington banged up. We talked about Nacua banged up. But Devontae Adams appears fully healthy. How much of a threat is he for the 49ers and the secondary? And how do you envision them trying to stop him?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Devontae Adams is still a threat. He's not at the peak of his powers, but he's not that far off from it either. You're going to have to, account for that. You have to pick the threat that you want to beat you. And there's going to be a lot of instances where he's going to potentially be able to make some plays. Now, I would expect Puka Nacua to go, but how effective he'll be remains to be seen. I don't know. I have a feeling that they're going to be able to handle the wide receivers. I think tight end is where they really need to watch out, but look out for at least one big Devontae Adams play, because he's annoyingly good at those where, everything's going well. Up, there's Devontae Adams, 55 yards to the house. Right. Just like, come on, man.
Can we get our corners to sell when he pushes off, by the way? Devontae Adams pushes off more than any fucking receiver I've ever seen in my life, and they just never seem to call it on him.
They just let him do it.
Yeah, I need one of our guys to just go ahead and just flop. Like, you're going to give up the pass anyway. You're going to give up the reception anyway. Just fucking flop and try to sell it, please. Like, I get it. This guy, he leans into them and he pushes off and breaks the opposite direction. Just please, for the love of God, someone out there just sell it one time and just see what happens. Just see what happens, please, because he does it so well. And I don't know if it's because he's a veteran and he's got the not aura, that's not the right word I wanted, the reputation, or he's just known for being good, so they don't call it on him. But we need to go ahead and do something about that.
I mean, just like that touchdown pass, I forget who it was to, maybe it was to Nacua, where he just completely doesn't even run a route against the Niners that Thursday night game. He ran in and immediately blocked two DBs to allow the receiver to go underneath and get the touchdown pass. Like, that's a flag. That's pass interference. I've seen that flagged on the 49ers before, but that's just Devontae Adams. They just let him get away with it. So it's unfortunate. I am concerned about getting pressure on Matthew Stafford. I think somebody put in the chat, he's 29-2 touchdown to interception ratio. Is that, or 20-2 maybe? Touchdown to interception
21
ratio.
to 2.
21, thank you. Filthy Casual fan put it in here. 21-2. If the 49ers cannot generate pressure, he will pick the defense apart, which he did that night. He had like 350 passing yards. Now, where was overtime still, but they need to find a way to get Huff, Okuwanu, Keon White, Cleveland Farrell. They got to find a way, whether it's bringing extra on a blitz, whether it's doing stunts. I don't care what it is. They have to find a way to make Stafford's life hell. And if they can even win a turnover battle, if they could just force a turnover, boy, would that go a long way in really neutralizing this Rams offense. If not, it's gonna be a long afternoon, and they're gonna have to find a way to sit back and get picked apart and still find a way to win it with a lot of production from their offense. So we'll see. We'll see. Kyron Williams, maybe he fumbles again. He can't seem to hang on to the ball when the 49ers play him. I think I saw a stat that he has like 4 fumbles lost against the 49ers and no other fumbles lost against any other team, if I remember that correctly from that Thursday night game. Like, it's just a crazy stat. So Fred Warner's not here, but Alfred Collins is, and he was the one who punched it out. So maybe we can get another punch out. I don't know. But I'm excited to see. This one's at home. Now, the last one was kind of still at home. Levi's South, but at least here it'll be an actual Levi's. We can take care of business here. And again, it may not be level or on par, or maybe even we're behind when it comes to defense or offense. but you bet your ass in special teams, we are ahead of them. We are ranked better than the Rams special teams. You guys saw that chart that I had up earlier. The Rams are 31st with a negative 23.7 special teams EPA, and the 49ers are all the way up to 4th with a positive 17.3 special teams EPA this week's 1 through 9. That includes Jake Moody's week 1, by the way. So maybe we get another blocked kick. Maybe we could block a punt, return it for a touchdown. Maybe we see Sky Moore, who's actually been having some pretty good games the last couple of weeks. Last week specifically, I should say. Maybe he's able to break one. I don't know. And Matt, you talk about, real quick, Mike, you talk about Tutu Atwell. That little fucker has been so annoying every single time the Niners play the Rams. He is not going to be there to sneak behind our secondary and catch some 60-yard pass with 10 seconds left when they're down 4 or some shit, like that. The 49ers don't have to deal with that little speedster this week. Mike, go ahead.
I was just going to say that we have to tackle. I know that goes without saying, right? But this is a team that loves to do like little screens and rub routes and things of that nature, right? And if they make that first guy miss, it goes from a 1 or no yard gain to 7 or 8 at least. And so we have to make sure that we are tackling and also setting the edge. We cannot have guys getting overly aggressive and letting them get outside on us. So it's gonna be a good game to watch. I want to see what Robert Saleh has in store for this team.
Yep. Should we get into our predictions? Player of the games?
You can try.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, you're on the big screen. Who do you got for offensive?
Offensive player of the game, I am going to go with Kendrick Bourne. I feel like the Niners have kind of been like saving him, or like, he had those 2 big games back to back, and then it was like, all right, you get the first half, we're going to give Jennings the second half type of thing. Like they've been kind of splitting it up lately. I think this is going to be a game where Bourne's just involved in both halves. Give me 8 receptions. Give me 8 receptions. Let's call it 96 yards and a touchdown. Kendrick Bourne.
Matt?
I'm going to take the cheap way out. I'm going to go Christian McCaffrey. I think he's going to have 175 yards from scrimmage and another touchdown or 2. And he's going to be, again, the driving force. He leads NFL in touches by like a wide margin. He's a ton of the 49ers offense and what they're going to do. And I don't expect that to change.
Right. Let's see. Did I see he has 8 receiving touchdowns already? Maybe 4. Maybe he has 8 in total.
I think he's on pace for 8. I think the stat that went around was he was on pace for like 1,200 rushing and like 1,100 receiving and 8 and 8 for each one. So I think he's got
flip it. He's got 680 receiving yards, I believe, and he's got 596 rushing yards. But he's on pace for 1,000.
Yeah. Before you go, Zach, Matt, does it change your value of Christian McCaffrey after what we saw Brian Robinson do with limited touches? You don't think that he gets a little bit more now? Does Kyle trust him a little bit more? They said that what was taking so long was for him to learn the offense. I mean, he looked good out there against the Giants in limited.
McCaffrey's so versatile that you can have them both out there at the same time. And McCaffrey's versatile in the passing game in a way that Brian Robinson just isn't going to be, because really nobody is. So while I could see, a handful of touches going to Brian Robinson, that really wouldn't change my mind, because Christian McCaffrey is so far and away the NFL leader in touches that it's like, yeah, we probably could dial that back a little bit. That might not be a bad idea. And he would still be effective.
So yeah, you guys are right. He has 4 and 4 rushing touchdowns and 4 receiving touchdowns. So for me, I'm going to go with the tight end, not named George Kittle, just because I think George Kittle may be left in the backfield to block. Maybe he still has a good game, but I think Jake Tonjes has a repeat of last Rams game. Did Tonjes have 2 touchdowns that game? Maybe he only had 1, but I think Jake Tonjes has 4 receptions for 48 yards and 2 touchdowns. Another Tonjes touchdown. So he leads the team, or at last I checked, was tied in receiving touchdowns for the Niners. So let me see if that's still correct. Well, before Mike goes, receiving touchdowns. He him and Christian McCaffrey both have 4. Mike, defensive player. Who do you got?
All right, man. This has got to be a Bethune game. I'm sorry if I'm taking anyone's answer here, but this is where you get tested, right? And again, this is not about replacing Fred Warner. This is being in the right place at the right time and taking advantage of your opportunities. I'm not looking for this guy to come out there and do the peanut punch or anything like that. Be in the right spot and make the tackles and keep the other linebackers around you in the right place. This is going to be a game. They're gonna pass the ball way more than they run it. And so we got to make sure that everybody is where they're supposed to be. Green dot for a reason. Go out there and make it happen. Give me 9 solo tackles, 4 assists, and 1 turnover. I don't know if it's going to be a forced fumble or an interception, but yeah. Give me 9, 4, and 1.
Okay. Matt?
Let's see. Defensive side of the ball. I'm going to go with Diamador Lenore. I think he takes one back to the house, pick 6 on Matthew Stafford. He tried when he broke the 49ers streak of no interceptions and just wasn't able to get down in time to let them kick field goal. But this time I think he does take it to the house in front of the faithful and, makes a go of it. So Diamador Lenore.
There we go. I like that. I'm going to go opposite Lenore and Renardo Green just because I think Lenore is going to have the tough challenge. And maybe Matt Stafford thinks to go opposite of that. And I think Renardo Green also gets a pick. And I think he just does a great job, whether he's on Nakua, whether he's on Adams. That last game that they played, he was still hurt. He was dealing with that neck injury. I don't even remember if he finished the game now that I think about it. But they held the Rams wide receivers relatively in check. Now, I think each of them had like 80 yards or something like that, each being Adams and Nakua. But one of them, it took like 8 receptions or 6 receptions to get to 80 yards. And the other one had most of that on like 1 or 2 catches. So I'm going to go with Renardo Green. I'm going to say 4 tackles and a pick. I like that. All right, final score predictions. Mike.
I don't know.
This is tough.
I don't think this is going to be a close game. I think whichever one of these teams wins is going to win by 2 scores. I'm going to say give me 29-17. Do I have to say who? Fuck. Man. All right, fuck it. I can't pick against the Niners. I'm going to say 29-17 Niners.
That'd be nice. That would be nice. You think they beat them by more than they beat the Giants, huh?
Yeah. Not for nothing. They should have beat the Giants by more, but they had that stupid giveaway a score drive, they just let them go down the field, and that's what I was talking about.
Defense.
You can't do that against this team because Sean McVay is crafty, and they have those one play here we go, let's take the top off really quick, and our safeties aren't built for that. Yeah. Now the good thing is that the speedy guy in Tutu Atwell is not there, but they still have other guys that are going to find it. So 29-17 Niners. Let's go.
Matt?
Yeah, I also can't pick against the 49ers right now. It's just, listen, Sean McVay got his couple last season in a very down year. Kyle Shanahan didn't like his little brother coming into his house and kind of tipping over the dishes. So Kyle Shanahan, once again, going to son Sean McVay. I think the 49ers win. It'll be a close one. I think it'll be a lower scoring game. I would bet the under if I was everybody else. I think 23-20 49ers.
I had 24-20 Niners. And I think that they win this in a last defensive stand, similar to last game, actually, now that I'm saying it. Not in overtime or anything like that. And I think maybe I'm getting a little too detailed in my prediction, but maybe it should have been 21-24, but they block an extra point or something, making it 24-20. Thus, the Rams need a touchdown to win it instead of a field goal to tie it. So give me 24-20 Niners. And boy, if they win this one, I am going to be the most obnoxious person on here come Sunday afternoon. I tell you, man, if you think I'm hyped about this team now, if they win this Sunday, which I think they can, and I think they will, you're not gonna want to see me, especially not these Rams fans on X, the few that are out there, believe it or not.
That's right. That's right. Fuck your trade deadline, huh? What do we need the trade for? I can't wait. I can't wait. Get turned up, baby. I like it. I like it, man.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yep. Mike, I'm sure the folks already know. Please let them know where to find the premium 49ers content.
Yeah. Guys, listen, I've been very, very under the weather lately, so I have not done a lot of my normal shows. There was no pregame show last week. The halftime show was very glitchy. I tried to go from the stadium. I was not feeling it while I was at the game. I did have a doctor's appointment today, and they gave me some antibiotics, so hopefully I'll be bouncing back. But the premium content is coming back full force. Patreon.com/NB9ERS. If you guys aren't already there, please get there. I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, how do I watch the games and Sunday Ticket and all that stuff? We have the games over there. We normally have replays available also. But last week during the Giants game, my daughter was running the show, and she didn't do the save thing the right way, but it's all good. So that one game is not available for replay. If you guys absolutely want it, I can go ahead and get that up there for you guys, though. But I think we're okay. But yeah, patreon.com/NB9ERS. For those of you who are watching right now from the Nothing But Niners channel, please make sure you guys head on over here to 49ersHive. You see it down there underneath Matt. It's right there, 49ersHive on YouTube. Make sure you guys subscribe over here as well. These guys are great. You got different types of shows coming all week long, so make sure you are subscribed here as well.
Appreciate it. Go check it out, guys. Patreon.com/NB9ERS. Also, Nothing But 9ERS on Instagram. Matt, do us the honors.
Absolutely. Listen, it's another big game for the 49ers. It's a division game. We didn't really touch on it, but we still don't 100% know for sure who's going to be under center for the 49ers. But either way, I expect a 49ers victory. So we love having you guys here. This was a great show. We couldn't do this without you guys. You guys are the backbone for us. So for Mike, for Zach, for myself, thank you as always. And until next time, go Niners.